Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, a free way to support the channel is by leaving a thumbs up, by leaving a comment, by leaving 2 comments, or by subscribing if you have not already done so. Welcome back to another News I Missed, where I go over news I missed, because there's always so much happening during the week in the cryptocurrency space. So at the end of the week, we kind of go over it together just to keep on track with everything that's been taking place. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Now, this is going to be my own personal opinion, as is much of the channel. If you have not been here before, hello. I tell you the news and I give you my opinion on it as to the current happenings within the cryptocurrency space. I personally do indeed believe that the NFT space is in a massive bubble. And I don't even mean like a slight little kind of bubble. I mean, it is blown out of proportion just exactly how huge this space is, how huge it's going to be in the future, and the prices that people are paying for things. So for those of you who do not know, popular digital artist Beeple, that is B-E-E-P-L-E, he's incredibly famous. He created something called the 5,000 day digital art piece. It sold for $60 million, making it one of the highest art auction sales ever, like on the planet ever. And I'm going to show you other references just to let you understand exactly how massive $60 million is. It was sold through Christie's. There's Christie's, Sotheby's, and Bonhams. These are the largest auction houses in the world. I'm sure you've heard their names before on some type of a TV show, CNBC, you know, when things get sold. There was also a $9 million premium for the sale, which means the entire total sale went up to 69.4 million US dollars. Now, understand, I collect art, I buy art, I appreciate art, but it gets to the point where you understand and you kind of step back and you realize that this is essentially just a JPEG. This is an image, a digital image. Of course, someone owns it. Of course, it's special. Of course, this is actually a really interesting art piece because it actually took him 5,000 days to do. He created an art piece once a day for 5,000 days over the course of many years, compiled them all together into one gigantic piece, and then sold it. But once again, it's a JPEG. That's not to say that it's not worth $1 million, $2, $5, maybe even an illustrious $10 million for this piece. But the amount of prices that people are paying right now for things within the cryptocurrency NFT art space are kind of mind-boggling. There's also a very big problem where, once again, I think I've figured it out. I said it in another video. I think the NFTs are the ICO of this year kind of thing. I think that NFTs will continue to be a thing and people will continue to collect them and they'll become more popular as time goes on. But the prices that people are currently paying for these things are not worth it at all. Not in the least, not in the actual slightest. And this is only going to come to a pop, to a boil. You understand what I'm saying? As these prices continue to get higher and the cryptocurrency space, of course, goes up as well. But when everything kind of falls back down, because it will, even art doesn't go up forever. There are certain pieces by certain artists that actually continue to appreciate. A lot of the stuff that people are buying, remember, what was it, a couple days ago? People are spending millions of dollars on screenshots of tweets. Taco Bell just made their own NFTs. Like it's getting, so anyway, I saw this and first of all, I'm very happy for the artist. I mean, can you imagine creating something, and it's selling for that much money? That would, of course, blow your mind. I think there's like an image of him somewhere. Yeah, this is him. And here's the actual image right here. So it's 5,000 little images, what have you. I guess maybe it is the word subjective, objective, subjective. I think it's subjective. To say, is this really worth $70 million? For reference, now, these are original Picassos. These are actual original pieces, estimated at just around $20 million. And I reference this not as an art snob, but it's more of a it's Picasso kind of thing. And even these two together did not sell for nearly 70 million US dollars. Original Warhols, 4.2 million. Is that a 4? Yep, that's definitely a 4. The entire sale of this evening, I don't know if you can see it right here, was 56 million pounds, roughly around 65, 67, maybe 70 million US dollars. It's more of a, if you decide to stay in or get into the NFT space, it's hot. It is hot like fire right now. There are a number of crypto YouTubers who are egging things on, showing people, look at my NFT on my laptop. It is a JPEG, and I paid around $15,000 for it. And people go, wow, I wish I had something for $15,000. And these people start spending their money on these things that someone else told them to do so. There's a very popular finance guru who I think, in my personal opinion, I won't say his name or his channel name or anything that he does because it'll give it away almost immediately. I think he's a bit of a hack, but people follow him because he's very inspirational. And people love what he says, and he sits there and goes, man, you can do it if you just believe. You don't have as much money as I do, but if you believe you have the money, they go, wow, that's amazing. I want to believe that I have as much money so that I can buy the same exact things as him. On his YouTube channel, on his Twitter, on his Instagram, he's telling everyone, go buy them. Do it right now. This is going to be the future. This is going to be the so-and-so. And it's once again mimicking 2017 where people were saying, get into this ICO. It's really cheap before it starts. You're going to make tons of money with it. I think the only difference now is that there's probably not going to be any classification, probably, at this point, for NFTs to be considered securities through the SEC, and therefore this is why people have a bit more leeway. I mean, it's, I find it rather fascinating. But the moment I heard about that, this is exactly what it made me think of. For those of you who did not see this, this was years ago, years ago. And for those of you not looking at the screen, it says how a 21-year-old made $1 million in 4 months selling pixels. This is very famous. You must have seen this before at some point in your life. This guy sold every single pixel for $1, and this is what his website ended up looking like. You can still find it. I'm pretty sure if you type in like 1 million pixel webpage, you can definitely find it. But it reminded me of that kind of like smashing a whole bunch of things together, and then, oh boy, it's just a lot always going on. Part of the problem as well is that for me, this is how I see a lot of things. In 2017, in 2018, in 2019, whether you're talking about ICOs, STOs, or altcoins that have, blossomed and come about during this time that no one's really using, but they continue to be high in price because people are constantly trading them back and forth on cryptocurrency exchanges. A lot of people are missing out on opportunities to get into coins that are actually going to make it. In the same exact way that these people are buying all these things in a frenzy, hoping to potentially maybe one day become hyper millionaires from these digital images that they purchased through some type of a website. There's been a lot of studies done during the last about like 6 or 7 months. You maybe have also seen this online as well. Collectibles are really in at the moment. People have started buying tons of comics. People have started buying tons of trading cards. The most popular trading cards, if you want to call them trading cards, at the moment are basketball, baseball, I guess even maybe American football as well, but Pokemon cards have exploded in popularity. There was, what's that guy's name? The other YouTuber who just purchased, I think it was like, what was it, like $1 million, $500,000 worth of Pokemon cards, and people are buying Charizards and all these other things. But I watched something that was kind of analyzing why this all took place and why this frenzy began. And it's because everyone's home. Everyone's looking for something to do. Everyone has bought exercise equipment. Everyone's exercising in front of their TV. Everyone's video chatting more. This is why Zoom became incredibly popular. People are buying dogs. There's a record low number of animals who are actually in adoption places and stuff like that because everyone's home and everyone's looking for, a companion in this time. It's the same exact thing where like the nostalgia factor comes in when people are looking for something to be able to buy and go, I have nothing else to do. What can I get into? And then they see these things online. Anyway, the point is, you understand what I'm saying. So this craze is being fueled by everything that it's been a year that's been going on from everything in the last year. This hype bubble is not done. What is that? Blowing up. Why am I doing this? Like blowing up air and something. It's going to continue rising. And I think that's going to be extremely detrimental for a lot of people who are buying these things. Same exact thing for those of you who weren't here last week. There was some person, some whatever. He bought a Banksy for $90,000, created a JPEG of it, put it onto an NFT website, and sold that for $380,000, and then burned the Banksy. Once again, if you've never owned a Banksy or bought a Banksy or seen a Banksy or whatever a Banksy, he has a thing where people have been recreating his images for quite a long amount of time. He got a little upset and basically created, there's I think one official website where you can basically send in your thing to go, is this an original Banksy? And he only authorizes, accredits, certifies things that are actually made by him and have his signature, not things that are digital representation. Because if that was the case, and every other thing that had his image on it, like all the other mugs and stuff like that, which aren't also by him, would also be considered. I mean, it's just it's a very finite thing that I think we are currently experiencing. Not to spend so much time on the NFT front, but every day, no matter where I go, it's nothing but NFT news. And I think people are, in a sense, being duped into buying these things because they're looking for returns. They're looking for the next hype. They're looking for something to get into. Everybody wants to make tons of money. And it's a bit of prestige to say, hey, I bought this digital piece for $4,000 and now it's worth $36,000. Wow, that's absolutely amazing. I want to do the exact same thing. Yeah, so same exact thing with, why did that pop down? There we go. For those of you who also weren't here, Jack Dorsey, who is the creator of Twitter or CEO of Twitter, head of Twitter, whatever you want to say, auctioned off his first tweet. I think it sold for like $5 to $10 million. Like it was like the current bid was 2.5 million. And the tweet was just setting up my Twitter. No vowels. Is that worth 2.5, 5 or $10 million for a JPEG? I know it's an NFT. Believe me, I've been in the crypto space longer than most. I know exactly what an NFT is. They years ago they tried to call them colored coins, but that didn't really catch on too much. Like the idea was that you'd have a red coin and a blue coin, and they'd be indistinguishable or distinguishable from each other. No, somebody selling their first tweet is definitely not worth millions. It says, so you bought an NBA Top Shot NFT. What do you actually own? There are now people who are selling off NFTs of moments that have happened. So you can actually spend tons of money on famous NBA moments or NBA highlights, like someone going whoosh and throwing the ball, or someone catching a ball, or maybe doing a little dance or something on the floor. But people are spending millions on these things. You're buying an image. And once again, subjective, because you're also buying an image from Picasso or from Basquiat or from Banksy or from any other artist or from Shepard Fairey. But I think there's a bit of a difference. Maybe I've just become one of those old people who's like, Bitcoin, digital things, but I don't see this boding out too well for a lot of people. And also, I thought this headline was interesting. It says, artist who tokenized album for $11 million explains why the NFT boom isn't like the ICO craze. Of course, if you just sold a digital version of something for 11 million, of course you'll tell people this isn't the same as the ICO thing. It's dramatically different. I'm going to do this again and hope that you spend another $11 million on this digital thing. We already have, I mean, I think it has to come down to prestige and simply saying, I've done so. Because realistically, now let me put it to you this way. Let's say somebody made an NFT of a lion running through the Sahara, and then it ends up selling for $15 million, and everyone's like, wow, that's amazing. You see this image, this JPEG on another website, and you simply right-click, copy it to your desktop. You also have that. You may not have the exclusive rights to it on that particular blockchain, but you still have that image. It's the same exact things with, music and movies and things like that as well. So I think, anyway, that's the NFT news. And I mean, this is like a fraction of what I see every single day, but I think this one really caught me off guard. $70 million for an image. While it may have been, a very cool, took 5,000 days to make this image, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's really a lot to kind of take in. And I think at this point, I'm just kind of waiting. What was the other thing? Something else just sold for like 15, 20 million. Some other NFT. I don't remember what it was. Well, I'm looking forward in the next, I give it a month and a half. We're going to have something else that sold for $85 million. Doesn't make a lot of sense, at least in my head. I was going to ask if anyone out there had purchased NFTs, but I'm actually afraid of the answer. Once again, if you do decide to get into this space, once again, I love collecting art. But when it comes to digital art, I think there's kind of a limit as far as I'd totally, if it's from a very well-known, very established artist, I'd be willing to pay $45, $100, $150, maybe $200, $300 for a digital piece by an artist that was quite finite. But even then, it's like, alrighty, that's for the NFT stuff. Just thought I'd let you know of everything that's been happening, because there's a lot of other, many, as you might have imagined, many other artists in the last 24 hours have come out basically saying that they're also creating their own NFTs after Beeple sold his. I mean, of course, they're all going to be like, let's do this right now. Okay, digitize everything in the room, and let's see how much money we can make. That's the NFT news, and let's move on. Next up, in other sure news, why the heck not? Major crypto exchange Binance is being investigated by the US CFTC, that is the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, over concerns that it allowed Americans to place wagers that violated US rules. Bloomberg reported, citing undisclosed people familiar with the matter, the CFTC is seeking to determine whether Binance which isn't regulated with the agency, the most important part, permitted U.S. residents to buy and sell derivatives that the regulator policies. Wow, policies. The report said, I mean, it does look like policies. Look at it quickly. Policies. Exactly. The report said, adding that the platform hasn't been accused of wrongdoing. And then a couple of seconds later, Binance coin also dramatically dropped in price. This is we are currently in a power struggle. Be it the idea that crypto gives people freedom of using their own money, or the idea that things need to be regulated in some sort of way so that we have a civilized society, as it were. A lot of things within the cryptocurrency space that we've seen regulators targeting, at least in my opinion, as I have gone over the news for roughly around 5,000 days. It's not that many. I can and have often come to the conclusion that a lot of times they usually target people who didn't play by their rules, who weren't regulated or who they could find something. It's kind of like BitMEX last year when they were like, oh, we're investigating because you allowed US people to do this. Oh, you aren't registered with us, or you can't so-and-so. This is why they created a Binance US to make sure that people within the US are using their platform. I think there's no real stopping anyone, should they as an adult decide to do so, if they are in the States, from accessing the actual Binance on their computer, phone, however they decide to do though, with current technology that we have. And then to say, oh, we got a whiff of the idea that people within the United States might have potentially used your website, and therefore you allowed them to trade things that were securities and or commodities that are usually ruled over by us. It's nonsense. It's about trying to assert power and assert dominance and say that we as regulators have the right to be able to do so. But that's going to continue for quite a while because that's what people who are in position of power do. That's just how history has worked out. So this was incredibly major news. Binance under investigation by the CFTC. CFTC investigates Binance over U.S. trading activity. Why? I'm certain Binance went through the trouble of creating Binance US and subsequently also Binance Jersey to allow people to, hey, please, by all means, use these other platforms because you can't use ours. They even had a press thing about, 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago where we went over the things together, and I was like, hey, if you're on Binance and you're in the States, you can't use Binance, use Binance US. And I repeated about 9 times over the course of 18 videos to let everybody know it was on the 23rd of some day or something like that. The interesting part that I found, now maybe I'm putting on my tinfoil hat, but this has happened before in the past. Whenever someone releases something that appears like it could potentially be out of the purview and or the gate, the doorway of what regulators can latch onto. Once again, this is my opinion. Once again, my channel, my opinion. A lot of people don't care for my opinion. I don't really care. It's my channel. So here's what happened. This news came out, and then about an hour later, the CFTC news came out. Crypto exchange Binance has made good on claims that last year that it was poised to join the payment sector, moving its Binance Pay platform out of beta and into a full rollout. You might see where this is going. Following a similar move from Bitfinex earlier this month, Binance wrote in a blog post that its travel bookings firm Travala has become the first merchant to incorporate its payment tool. It stated that all Binance account holders would be eligible to use the new fee-free service. The exchange added that its merchant application programming interface, or API, would allow vendors and service providers to process online payments on in-person payments using QR codes. This, it said, would provide for what it termed as a seamless payment experience for crypto pay applicable both to e-commerce ventures and businesses such as restaurants. Binance is currently the largest crypto exchange on the planet, next to Coinbase. I think Binance has more I think daily users, because I like Binance, and Coinbase has another metric, but Binance is always the number one cryptocurrency exchange. What happens if you make sure as a business that if the US doesn't want you, you simply go, cool, that's fine. Every other country in the world says we can, do our business except for the US, so we create a Binance US. Now, what happens when this largest cryptocurrency exchange that's not under the foot of the regulators, just putting it that way, decides, hey, first of all, Binance has a very nice interface. It is very easy. It is very seamless to use. Their withdrawal policy, as far as how much you can take off per day, is also quite generous compared to many other places. I believe it's like 2 Bitcoin per day, like the value or something like that. Now imagine how big this exchange is. It's the largest in the world. I mentioned before to all of you in 2018 and 2019, I said we're going to see a lot of big players getting into the space who are going to try to make sure that they assert their dominance. I've had assumptions before that a lot of people, whenever that a cryptocurrency exchange tried to launch, not even an exchange, a cryptocurrency company, anything cryptocurrency related, tried to launch something in some sort of way, a payment this, a coin that, a blah, 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 whatever it might have been, the SEC and the CFTC ran after them immediately. And it was usually on the day that they launched said product. You can look through my other videos. I don't have an exact example because people always go, well, can you give me an example? And I was like, I'm not going through 1,800 videos just to appease you. You can find it. Is always when the actual thing drops and they say, hey, you're something wrong. You're doing something wrong. We can't allow that. You're allowing US people to so-and-so. Imagine creating a fee-free platform. Imagine the other people who work, I believe, usually in cahoots with other regulators around the world or wherever they might actually be, who run these other platforms. You must have seen the Western Union ad by now. There's two of them. There's one with like young people dancing and they're like, yeah, Western Union. And then the other one where it just shows like looking to send money fast around the world. And it has these like bright yellow and red colors. And then it goes Western Union. No one's using these services anymore. People are realizing that not only, once again, can you use cryptocurrencies and you can buy them, but the transaction fees are so much lower, even if you choose not to use Bitcoin and or Ethereum because of their current high transaction fees. There are other coins that have 0% transaction fees. Same exact thing when it comes to stable coins. So imagine the largest cryptocurrency exchange, which also acts as its own bank. These are other forms of banks. These are new forms of banks, but they're banks that are not owned by the old legacy ones. This is why I said it's very important whenever we keep hearing that these old banks, the oldest bank in this country, the oldest bank in this, the oldest bank in New York, the oldest bank in America, the oldest bank in Argentina, are all buying up Bitcoin and getting into the cryptocurrency space. It seems to do nothing to people's minds and they go, they're old. I simply don't care. Imagine the new banks that allow people to move their money in and out freely. There's no fee for that. The bank doesn't ask you where you're moving your money, where it's going, or where it even came from because it's not their business. Now imagine they create something that allows people to link up their phone, their tablet, their whatever, and make payments around the world, not through a Visa or MasterCard system, but through a QR code on their phone that's linked to their Binance account. Do you think regulators would like that? Probably not. That's why when this news came out, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Brushed over it. An hour later, the CFTC news came out and I said, okay, that'll definitely do it. Oh yeah, we think you're allowing Americans commodities and you can't do that. Okay. Well, that's quite convenient. So the point is this tug of war is not going to end. I give it about 5 to 10 years. I think at the end of the 10 years, the struggle will definitely be completely squashed and we will have a clear winner within the arena. But yeah, the news is that Binance is currently under CFTC investigation. I think all this will do is make sure that Binance closes themselves off further from the United States, which would then only allow other players in the United States who are trying to push their money into the market to become new entities and come the Binance of the US, as it were. It's all about money. It's all about power. Like none of this actually has to do with any consumer protection. They don't care. It has nothing to do with actual protection of the people. It's protection of our money, protection of our investments. We know people who are trying to get into the space and therefore this thing cannot exist. I mentioned that before when we heard that the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ were getting into the cryptocurrency space. I was like, watch out. Because of a whole bunch of other players are definitely going to be decimated. How many other cryptocurrency exchanges have left? How many other cryptocurrency payment companies have also disappeared? How many other price oracles and indexes and stuff like that have also completely disappeared? And now whenever we hear stuff where it's like the price index on Bloomberg or on Morningstar or on the NASDAQ's website for Bitcoin, it's all about power. It's all about trying to squash other people to make sure as the largest cryptocurrency exchange on the planet. Can you imagine freedom of movement of your money and of your own payments? Of course you can't, because that's not how the system works. Anyway, that's the Binance news. We'll see where this goes. I assume there will be a $15-20 million penalty payment settlement between them or something like that. It's kind of the same exact way. I don't know if you've seen websites are having a field day with this one, where the SEC has announced that they're trying to get into the personal bank accounts of the CEOs of Ripple. Excuse me? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that happening in any other industry except for the finance industry? The idea is that the people from Ripple knew that XRP was a security for the last 7 years, which the SEC did nothing about, which is also quite funny because if they knew it was a security 5 years ago, why didn't they say anything about it? But they're trying to figure out if it is a security and if the people from Ripple coerced people or told people to get into the market and now they want to see their personal finances. Are you insane? Anyway, I guess that ties directly into the next topic. Because this is the way that the future is going. Not what's on the screen, but the next topic. And without further ado, that's the Binance news, and let's move on. The world is weird, dude. The world is, I mean, the code to Litecoin's potential Mimblewimble upgrade will be completed in about 2 days. On this date, the code of Mimblewimble's protocol will be ready for final review and formal auditing. At the time of writing, Mimblewimble has been running smoothly on the Litecoin testnet for the last 3 months. So what's happening is that Litecoin is going to have private transactions through Mimblewimble. There are many other protocols, many other coins who are also going to be implementing similar things onto their blockchains. I give it no more than 5 years. No more than 5 years. We are going to have private transactions on nearly every single major cryptocurrency, starting with Litecoin. But they're all going to be basic mimics of each other. They kind of coin mimic. You have smart contracts, I have smart contracts. You have ICOs, I have ICOs. You are making an NFT platform, I'm making an NFT platform. You have Mimblewimble or Schnorr or Taproot or any other privacy-centric thing, I'm going to have the exact same thing. This also, I guess, makes sense as to why Litecoin's price has been rising. This is going to be a major upgrade. And one of the really smart things that they're actually doing is kind of making it like a switch. Kind of, I don't know which coin also has this. I want to say Dash. I don't know. I don't pay attention to those coins. Where basically, if you can send transactions privately, should you choose to do so. However, if you choose to also send your money to a cryptocurrency exchange or to a bank, because in the future all banks are going to be accepting crypto, you can kind of flick the switch off and say, hey, make my transactions known to the bank. So this is why it says no need to delist Litecoin if governments come calling. It's very intelligent, but we can all assume. I'm not gonna even say it. The point is, yeah, I'm very excited for this. They said Q1. I assume probably by summer. I'm feeling summer for some reason. I don't think they'll be able to do the full implementation anytime soon because I think it also has to be voted on consensus-wise by the actual network to say, thumbs up, let's do this. But in the next 5 years, every coin will have private transactions. And more people are already moving over to decentralized cryptocurrency exchanges. And this is why we see this this rush by many banks and companies to get into the cryptocurrency space to try and become gatekeepers or say you can hold your coins with us because they're no longer needed. Just mathematically, not saying it in like a, once again, like a fist in the air kind of way. It's just more of like a, we don't need the US dollar because we have digital versions of the US dollar. And, 0.20% interest rate, 7% interest rate. We don't need Western Union or MoneyGram or any other payment service method because we can simply just use cryptocurrencies or use stable coins. We don't need banks because we have cryptocurrency exchanges. And if you want to go a step further, we have decentralized cryptocurrency exchanges, which are more robust, getting more people every single day. So we live in a world where we have the technology to be able to, like Superman jump levels of, to move forward in society and in finance. But it's just a matter of other people realizing that these things exist. And this is why I think the NFT space also kind of annoys me a little tiny bit as well, because there are normal people who are spending $800, $1,500, $2,700. And I assume it's a lot more $100 or thousands of dollars to buy these NFTs and not realizing that the thing that they should be purchasing, at least according to me, are the cryptocurrencies that are going to continue going up in value. Like you buying a piece of art for $5,000 or $500 is not going to outpace how much Bitcoin is going to be going up in the next 10 years. Anyway, that's the Mimblewimble news. What is this one? Yeah, that's the Mimblewimble news. Very exciting. And let's move on. In unsurprising news, MicroStrategy has been converting money into Bitcoin, yada, yada. According to CEO Michael Saylor, the business intelligence firm has purchased an additional 262 Bitcoin, worth around 15 million US dollars. On the 12th of March, MicroStrategy hodls close to 91,326 Bitcoin, all of which have been acquired for roughly $2.2 billion at an average price of $24,000 per Bitcoin. I bet they wish they had gotten when Bitcoin was $3,000, but alas, hindsight 2020 and all that stuff. So the news is that MicroStrategy, of course, where did I get that accent from? Of course, purchased another portion of Bitcoin. They have to file with the SEC, I believe, every time they do this. And here's the paperwork for them actually purchasing the other $15 million worth of Bitcoin. Is anyone surprised? No, you shouldn't be, because there are also tons of other companies who are doing the exact same thing, except for these companies don't have to file with the SEC or the CFTC or the ABC in other countries. So quite fascinating indeed. Anyway, that's of course, they bought more Bitcoin news. And let's move on. Next up, video game pioneer Atari is building a cryptocurrency casino in Vegas City, a district inside of Decentraland. So this is also another topic that we're going to have in a couple of years. This hasn't even exploded as much as NFTs have, but we are currently in a world where you can also buy digital land. I explained that to a friend, and she laughed until there were tears flowing out of her eyes. She was like, but there's land here. Why don't people buy this land? And I had to explain to her in the nerdiest way possible. If you have a VR headset or if you're playing a game, you can own this digital land. And on top of that digital land, you can set up a museum. You can set up a park. You can set up a movie theater so that people can move within your digital world and sit on the grass in your digital place and look up in their headset and see the movie. And she's like, that sounds ridiculous. I think it just takes time to get used to these things, because also the idea of digital land was quite obscene to me at the time. I think it's also still a little it's a little weird. Let's all be completely honest, because it doesn't actually exist. It's somewhere in the airwaves. Anyway, Atari has partnered with Decentral Games for the project, which is based around its cryptocurrency DG. Decentral Games has backing from the Digital Currency Group, which is also the people that oversee Grayscale. So Atari made their own cryptocurrency called Atari, or ATRI, ERC20 coin last year, and I told you that it wasn't going to last, and I didn't realize or understand why they were making their own coin. A new gaming console called VCS will form a part of a planned crypto-powered ecosystem. Maybe they're launching... No one plays gaming console. Maybe they're launching a gaming console so that you can buy it and then access the virtual land from your TV. Oh boy. Okay, so one of these projects is going to catch on. I am not sure which one. There are also many rumors that that Bookface is also creating their own digital land world, what have you. I guess the news is Atari is building on top of Ethereum, if I can say it that way. Oh boy. Yeah, see, even right here, NFT drop. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's draining money from so many people's wallets, and people don't even understand. This is all hype. The bubble is going to hyper burst. People are going to be left with these JPEGs and be like, oh, look at this. Anybody want this for $37,000? Somebody told me 2 years ago it was worth $37,000. And then when the market does pop, it'll slowly regain traction. And that's when these items are the ones that are going to be the ones to buy. And I guess the same thing with digital land. There was also, I think the first platform started in 2017. I think that was around the time frame. and they were parcels of land, as they're called, were being sold for $50 and $120 and $200. And 3 weeks later, people were reselling them for like $3,000, $5,000. I think there was a huge portion of multiple lands that were sold for like $15,000, $20,000. And I was like, the game hasn't even come out yet. Like, what's the... Anyway, wonderful. That's the digital land news. And let's move on. Also, a really popular topic, like that keeps... I mean, like I saw multiple news articles about this. A Twitter account named $1,200 stimulus is now worth has been tracking how much the first U.S. stimulus package would be worth if it had been invested into Bitcoin when they were first sent out. The passing of the bill, blah, blah, yada, yada. Where is it? Bitcoin was sitting around 6,800. If you had invested 1,200, it'd be worth around $10,000 right now. 751% return. Where's it? I mean, people are also doing it for other, because, you know, Bitcoin went up by X amount, but other coins went up by XXX amount. So I don't think they have the other numbers here. But there are definitely other people who be like, if you had put it into Cardano, bro, you'd be a millionaire right now. Like other kind of thing. I don't know why I use that voice, kind of things like that. So, I mean, I guess this news is coming out because we are on the cusp of the release of, or sending out of, the next stimulus checks. And I guess people are like, if you put it into BTC, here's what you can get in the future. But I think, you know, a lot of people actually need this check. People actually need that to eat, to pay rent. They have kids. So I will say this once again, the same as I said for the first 1,200. If you have bills, please pay those bills before you think about throwing your money into a cryptocurrency, because, you know, it's better to have a roof over your head than to be sitting on the street with a laptop talking about how rich you are. And to finish things off, Goldman Sachs has been seeing more demand for Bitcoin amongst its clients, according to its president and COO. In a report by Reuters on Wednesday, John Waldron. I thought that we had gone over this before, but I don't remember saying the name John Waldron. No. John Waldron said that while Goldman was regulated on what it could do, the bank continues to evaluate Bitcoin and engage with its clients. Demand is rising, said Waldron, who is also Goldman's bank president. The comments came as the bank relaunched its cryptocurrency. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. They relaunched their trading desk. They announced their intention to get into the futures market. And I think there was also like some leaked news of a potential proposal for a Bitcoin ETF on their side. Sure, why not? We know that, and I personally think banks, I think, would not waste their time saying the word Bitcoin if it wasn't something that they either were afraid of taking over their current position in the banking world, or just as something that they're going to be getting into. They're not talking about gold, copper, silver, banknotes, convertible this, they're talking about Bitcoin all the time. And I think it's always funny whenever we hear that, oh yeah, we are looking into it. Yeah, that's the word we're going to use. And then we always end up getting news 6 months later. They've been into it since 2017, 18, 19, and they were just simply gauging public interest, which is a lie, because they know that we should all know that. They don't mention these things out loud unless they've gotten a number of heavyweights in their banking system era, whatever, who've contacted them saying, hey, I use you as a bank. Do you offer this because I want to use you because I trust you the most? They're not simply saying, oh, maybe Bitcoin. I don't know. That sounds kind of cool. Let's use that. No, it's because of a rich interest that they would even think of getting in, because they don't care about normal people, because banks don't care about us. Anyway, that's the Goldman Sachs news. It's true, though. Yeah, that's going to do it for this news I missed. There's a lot more. That was just what I could fit into this video. The cryptocurrency prices are really just all over the place. I wish for, the word isn't stabilization, just clarity sometimes. as to why a lot of these coins are doing what they're doing. I've been reading around, and people have been stating that Bitcoin is in another one of those, what do you call it? Those like that tight trading range kind of thing. We saw articles about Thrice last week, I guess still this week, if you will, talking about that Bitcoin looks poised to move past 60,000. It keeps happening over and over. It's these really weird movements. I assume even right here, we're going to see a drop, at least at the time of me making this video. They just won't let it pass 58,000 for some reason, whatever the reason might actually be. I think it's also like another power thing to be able to say, hey, I can move the markets, or hey, I can do the so-and-so. But at this point, just do it. It just kind of delaying the inevitable, and it's just, shrug. And Litecoin's price was going up the last couple days. It was around here, if you want to use that as a metric. But now it's kind of tapering off, I guess, as the hype from the news has slowed down. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be on this crazy planet. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Please always make sure to do your own research. Don't just simply buy into other things. Take care of your money. It's very important to invest, but know what you are investing in. I have a strange feeling by December, we're going to have a lot of new channels popping up with people sitting in their cars crying, or sitting in their living room discussing how much they paid for an NFT and how it's simply not worth anymore. I know it's coming, but thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.